Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Watch Your Heroes Fall. This will be Part 27, Chapter 31, entitled Phase 4, Song 2, Handlebars by the Flowbots. Izuku wakes early. He tries not to wake Shoto when he does, but Shoto has never been a deep sleeper. Shoto is just glad that Izuku didn't slip out of bed from 3 to 6 a.m. again, the way he does most nights. He stayed safe in Shoto's arms until 6:38, when the egg yolk of dawn spilled through the broken blinds on the window, and brought with it the crowning of the birds who haven't yet abandoned the trash of Kamino, where the bar is. Izuku slips out of bed, and Shoto pretends that he is woken up by the sounds of Izuku sliding the Kevlar jacket of his villain suit on, even though he's been awake with pin-pricked nerve endings since 5. Shoto doesn't know why he woke up at 5. He just knows that Izuku is going somewhere today. He mentioned it yesterday, briefly, before Kurogiri had his fainting spell, but then Izuku went right to bed, at noon, and nothing Shoto said to him could convince him to spill this stage of the plan. Today, he sees Shoto awake, and kisses the crown of his head. He probably sees the fear, although Shoto is sure all his fear tells were trained out of him. He tells Shoto, "I know you don't get it, and you're worried, but this one part I need to do by myself." He's dressed fully in the suit now. Despite all the violence this suit has seen, it's spotless and unmarred. Shoto knows Izuku is mottled with injuries underneath, just like the rest of them, even though he has told everyone he's barely injured. When he holds Izuku, he can feel the dip in his flesh covered by thick bandaging, from whatever happened to his torso before they fought the Shi Hassaikai. He knows Izuku isn't ready for a fight. He sits up. Izuku's smile tightens like a piano wire, and his eyes water, and he says, "I'm gonna be okay, Shoto." "Then why do you look so scared?" "I just have to do this one part alone." Shoto says the only thing he thinks could convince Izuku not to do something stupid. "I promised your mom that I'd take care of you." It's cruel, and it's manipulative, but Shoto managed to say it without his voice cracking over the harsh lead in his throat, and he can't take it back anymore. Izuku's eyes spill over, and a crescendo of sobs escapes his lips. He holds onto Shoto desperately. "I don't want to do it," he mutters frantic. "I don't want to. I'm scared, Shoto. I'm really scared, but I have to. If I don't do it this way, the point doesn't drive home. I have to show them, and to show me, I guess. If I never face him, the whole thing might as well have been for nothing, you know? We're so close. I just have to do this one final thing." "Izuku," Shoto interrupts. He can count the number of times he's ever interrupted Izuku on 2 hands, but Izuku's only crying harder now. "Izuku, will you come back to me after?" That doesn't seem to be the question Izuku expected, and he gives a surprised little giggle. "Yes, of course I will. I'm always coming back to you." And Shoto swallows the fear of Izuku getting hurt and the pride of screaming to protect him, and the confusion of what the plan even is, and he says, "Okay, then I can wait for you." Izuku goes to check on Kurogiri. Tomer had said he was awake, just resting, and Izuku had asked to speak to him privately about drop-off and pick-up for whatever part of the plan is happening today. Everyone is nervous, balancing on that piano wire smile of Izuku's, waiting for him to strike the key. Himiko is taking turns clinging to everyone, and Momo's trying to talk everyone into a game of cards because she needs something to do with her hands. Dabi suggesting a drinking game, and Compass is actively shooting it down by convincing Jean and Magne to work with him, as the only 3 with a public face over the age of 20, by not buying any alcohol to restock the bottles that broke in the earthquake last week. Tomura is pacing outside of Kurogiri's room, not close enough to listen, but close enough to fret. And Hitoshi is trying to tell him that Izuku won't, eat Kurogiri. Shoto is waiting for everyone to pick a card game. He won't know the rules, no matter what they pick, but Momo's a good teacher. Hitoshi, Tomura, and Izuku finally come back downstairs at some time near 2 p.m., Himiko is clinging to Jean at the moment, so that means she's helping him make lunch. And they're passing out bowls of grilled mackerel and rice while Momo passes out cards for Texas Hold'em. "Oh, perfect timing," Magne says. "Here, Momo will deal you in. Compass is going to be the dealer, but Momo wanted to hand out the actual cards." "It's fun," Momo says defensively, and Compass is laughing and asking if Momo has ever even seen the inside of a casino, which Momo says doesn't matter in the slightest. "I've got to head out, actually," Izuku says. Only Shoto can see the thin tremor in his fingers. He gives Izuku a reassuring nod, and he thinks it helps. Izuku turns to the door, only to be stopped by Jean, who drags Izuku back by the collar of his suit and deposits him in a booth. Nope, Jean says. Food first, then villainy. I know my cooking ain't like Kurogiri's, but nobody ate breakfast, and you're not going anywhere that you need Kevlar on and an empty stomach. Izuku blinks at the mackerel, a little burnt, and rice, slightly overcooked, and starts crying again. Jean flounders, ticks making his voice echo off the bar's faded wooden floors, and Momo slides out of her booth, spot next to Shoto, so the two of them can pull Izuku out of his seat and wrap him in a group hug, which Himiko joins because she can. Does he cry like this all the time? Tomura asks, sounding disgusted because it hides how concerned he is that he was trying to kill a kid that cries this often, like 10 weeks ago. Dabi, next to him, shrugs, brow furrowed like he doesn't know what to make of this either. Hitoshi makes a face at them, like he knows what they're thinking, and something ugly rears its head and Hitoshi rubs salt into the wound by saying, Actually, he usually cries way more often. He's kind of a nervous wreck, actually. But then, seeing how their expressions falter and fall, Hitoshi feels bad and adds, According to Bakugo, he's been that way pretty much forever. Who's Bakugo? Dabi asks, at the same time that Tomura says, The kid we kidnapped. Yeah, they went to middle school together or something, Hitoshi says. I personally hate the guy, but Izuku's never had anything particularly bad to say about him, I guess. They eat. Izuku leaves with a blank-faced resolve and an awkward goodbye smile. He says they can turn on the TV in like an hour if they want to see what's going on. He says he'll be back. When he's gone, they play some cards. It feels like charades. Dobby and Shoto offer to do the dishes because they both hate charades, and neither of them are good at Texas Hold'em. What is it? Shoto asks quietly, under the susurrus of rushing water out of the faucet and the staccato scrape of ceramic and plastic and metal dishes. Dobby looks like he has something to say, and no reason to say it, and Shoto wants to know what fills the mind of the man he could call a brother. Dobby scrubs at a particularly stubborn bit of mackerel, stuck to the bottom of the griddle Jean had used. Izuku said you scream. In your sleep, I mean. He said you have nightmares. Shoto sets another dry plate on the stack to be put away. He nods. I do. It's not any worse than the rest of the class. What do you mean? Dabi asks, voice even quieter than before. It's fear, Shoto realizes, that he can hear in Dabi's voice. He never expected to be able to hear it so plainly. Shoto's not sure he should answer honestly. Dabi doesn't seem like he wants to really know, but Shoto is a terrible liar, and so he says, Everyone in class has nightmares. Uraraka and Kirishima go around every night checking that everyone is safe in their rooms before they go to bed. Kaminari keeps his door open so he can hear anyone walking in the hallway. Shoji can only fall asleep when he's around other people now. We have movie nights a lot of nights, pretty much exclusively to get him some good sleep. Dabi drops a cup. It's plastic, and bounces harmlessly on the wood floor. Shoto picks it up. Magne is screaming about her impressive bluff and the round she just won, so nobody noticed it. Dabi is staring at the running faucet. Shoto was right the first time. He really shouldn't have told Dabi any of this. He kind of wishes he could take it back. There's some small, dirty part of him that wanted Dabi to hear it, though. To know that Uraraka had to fight off villains at USJ, that Kirishima had to protect his classmates from Anomu, that Kaminari had to trade brain plasticity for his life, that Shoji had to carry Izuku for miles, while Dabi set the forest on fire. Sorry, Shoto says, setting the cup back in the sink. Dabi turns and wraps Shoto in both arms. He's shaking. He says, I'm sorry, Shoto. I'm so sorry. Shoto feels a sharp little ball wedge itself in his chest. He doesn't know what it is or what to do with it. His face feels wet. He's crying, probably. The rest of the league is still wrapped up in cards. Apparently Himiko is playing very incorrectly, and Hitoshi is trying to convince everyone that her way is more fun. Dabi lets Shoto go, and sniffs and says, I bet those guys are all shorter than you. Shoto has no idea what relevance that has. He says, Shoji is actually much taller than me. And then Compass cries, I am so done watching you all butcher this game. I'm turning on the TV. And he stalks upstairs. Himiko bounds up after him. I want to see Izuku. I want to see Izuku. Momo sighs and starts cleaning up the cards, and Magne says, Hun, leave him. We can pick up the game later, with a wink that brings Momo's soft little smile back. Shoto drags Dabi with him upstairs, and everyone gets settled onto various articles of furniture while Compass bickers with Tomura about the news channel. They decide on Hero News Live because they have the fewest newscaster interjections. They miss the first minute of the broadcast. Are not able to get to the area due to construction blocking the roads for our reporting trucks, but TikTok live streamer Sussy Kamui Simp has agreed to patch their live stream to us for access to the scene. What kind of news show can't even get reporters on the scene? Hitoshi laughs. Momo says, Izuku probably planned it this way. Whatever it is, Dabi says. The newscast pans to shaky phone camera footage of Izuku skipping down a street. He's smiling, and when he notices the camera, he laughs and waves and blows a kiss and keeps skipping. Whoever's behind the camera is quiet, hiding behind what looks like it could be a dumpster, but they follow Izuku down the street as he skips, and then someone else barrels onto the scene. Green gauntlets, a dead giveaway. It's Bakugo Katsuki. With a hero, even one in training, on the scene, Sussy Kamui Simp sneaks closer to try and pick up dialogue. Bakugo doesn't even get a chance to speak before Izuku holds his arms out in front of him and says, Hi, Kachan. I'm turning myself in. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 31 of Watch Your Heroes Fall. Chapter 32 will be up next. Hope you all are still enjoying. Eager to hear your thoughts and reactions to this one, and as always, thank you so much for listening.